I welcome you all to today's lesson. This is our lesson 2 under complex numbers, and we'll start by looking at complex equations. So what you need to understand about complex equations is that if two complex numbers are equal, it means that the real part and the imaginary part are what? Are equal. This is what it means. So whenever you are talking about complex equations, it means that the real part and the imaginary part are also equal. So this is what you need to understand. So each time two complex numbers are the same, it means that even the real part and the imaginary part are also equal. For example, when you have, let's say, a plus 6i, then there we are saying that it is equal to 3 plus 6i. You are told to find the value of a. How can you find the value of a? This is the real part here. So real part a is equal to, what is the real part this side? It is 3. Meaning that a is equal to what? A is equal to 3. This is what you need to understand. And if you have something like 8 minus bi is equal to what? 8 plus 7i, like this. What is the value of b? So here b is what? Negative b, which is equal to. So this is the imaginary part. Is equal to this part which is here. What is the imaginary part there? 7, like that. So have you seen? So therefore, if you divide both sides by -1, you are going to get a b which is equal to -7. So this is your what? This is your answer. These are some of the things that you need to know and understand. So even as I teach you this, these are parts that you need to understand. So I've just given you one part which you need to know, and this part you need to make sure that you understand it. So what I've said is that if two complex numbers are equal, it also means that the real part and the imaginary part are also equal. This is what you need to get and understand. So let us now look at some examples that come in your exams. Questions won't be as simple as this. I just wanted to give you a background on how questions get to come, but we'll be building up on this same concept that we've just gathered here. So let's say you are having something like this. Let's say you've got an equation which is like this. You are told to solve. So we are going to solve some equations. So you are told to solve for x. So you are told to find the value of x, and want to find the value of x and y in these equations that I'm going to write. So the first equation is this one. This is the first equation. It's saying 3 plus 2i, like this, then squared minus 3, we've got something like this, x plus y, like this, which is equal to x plus y. This is what you are given. You are told to find the value of x and y. So how can you go about this? What are some of the things that you are supposed to do? So what you're supposed to do is that we are saying that if two complex numbers are the same, we establish an understanding to say if there is an equal sign here, meaning what is here is equal to what is there. So we want to find the value of x here and the value of y which is there. So what are you supposed to do? What are some of the things that are supposed to be done? So what you're supposed to do is that you need to expand or evaluate this part so that you just have the real part and the imaginary part. So I'm going to get this part. You just need to get this part. So I'm going to say this is left hand side. This is what I'm going to do. So I evaluate the part which is here, just this part here. So I just evaluate this part that is on my left hand side. So how do we expand this? So expanding this is just the same as 3 plus 2i. In my first lesson, I taught you on how to multiply two complex numbers like this. Then here, when we start multiplying, we are going to have minus 3x minus 3i, then y. This is what we are going to have here. We forget about this part a bit, so I just need to get this part. I make sure that I am only having the real part and the imaginary part. That's what I'm supposed to do. So from here, what is the next thing? You start multiplying here, you expand here. So here I told you, I think no one is facing some challenges on how to go about this. You say 3 times 3, that is 9. So I'm getting the real part. Then what about this one? This is 2i multiplied by 2i. What answer am I getting? 4. Since I, it's negative 1. So it is minus 4. This is the real part. So if you didn't understand on how to multiply, if you can't understand this, make sure you go back to the first lesson. Then you say plus what? Plus I. You get the imaginary part. So what is the imaginary part here? You get the imaginary part. Since we are evaluating, so what is the imaginary part? This one times that one, it's 6. This times this plus what? 6. Then you do this. You maintain minus 3x minus 3iy, like this. This is what you are going to do. So when you continue working out this, what we are going to form, here we are going to have a what? A 5 plus. Here we are going to have 12i. This is what we are going to have 12i minus 3x minus 3iy, like this. So we group the real part and the imaginary part. So I group the real part and the imaginary part. The real part is this one, 5 here. I'm also having what? I'm also having 3 there. Minus what? 3x. So I'm going to do this. This is the what? The real part. Then I say plus what? Plus I. I get the imaginary part. What is the imaginary part? My imaginary part is this one. I've got a 12 there. Then 12 minus here. I'm going to get 3y. So I have factored out I outside there. I do this. Have you seen? So I've got the real part and the imaginary part. After I do this now, after I've expanded the left hand side, then I get the original equation. Have you seen? You get this one here, then you bring it here. Have you seen? Where you're going to say now, this is now equal to, you do this, equal to what? X plus I, y. This is what you need to do. So this is the real part. This is the imaginary part. So what we are going to do is this. You get this. This one is the real part. So you get this real part. So you say this is 5 minus 3x is equivalent. What is the real part there? The real part is x, like this. Have you seen? So you are going to have 5 is equal to. This is negative 3x. When it goes this side, it becomes plus 3x. So x plus 3x, you get 4x. Where you divide both sides by 5, we also divide here by, you divide both sides by 4, not 5. You divide both sides by 4, so that we cancel out that 4. This cancelled. We remain with x. X is equal to 5 over 4. X is equal to what? 5 over 4. So we've answered the first value. Then we go to y. So I'm showing you the procedures that you need to do. These are simple things you just need to follow. The same way I'm answering, this is the same way you are supposed to answer. So y, the imaginary part, to get this imaginary part, this is the imaginary part, which is 12 minus 3y is equal to the imaginary part. This side is just y. You don't get I. I told you in my first video. This one, the imaginary part. So I wrote something like this. You say x plus I y. This is what I wrote. So this one here, it is called the real part. That is the real part. The x and the y here, it is called the imaginary part. This is what I told you. That one is called the imaginary part. So don't concentrate on the I there. Because this one is attached with an I, that's why we get to call it an imaginary part. But all in all, what I'm trying to talk about is the real part and the imaginary part of a complex number. So here you solve this. You are going to get 12 is equal to, when this one goes that side, it becomes positive. So y plus 3y, you get 4y. When this one goes that side, it becomes positive. Then y plus 3y, you get 4y. Where you divide both sides by 4, you divide both sides by 4. So 4 cancelled. You remain with y is equal to 12 divided by 4, you get 3. So y is what? 3. So we've answered this question where the value of x, this is the value of y, this is the value. Have you seen? So we've answered this, and these are the solutions. This is what you need to do. So we were told to solve this question. This is the question that we were told. So we now conclude and say, therefore, x is equal to 5/4 and y is equal to 3, like this. You are done. This is what you are supposed to do. So I want you to understand this, and I want you to get the concept. Let us now look at another question which is different. We look at another example. So I want you to understand these examples because they are going to help you. X over 1 minus I plus y over 4 plus 3i, which is equal to 2 minus 4i. Like this. You've got this is an equation you want to solve. You want to solve this equation. So you want to find the value of x, which is there, and the value of y. These are the values that we want to find. So how can you answer this question? The first thing you need to do is that, have you seen the way this one? Here we are dividing. We are doing what? We are dividing. So since we are dividing, what we need to do is that there are many ways in which you can answer this question. You can use a lot of methods to answer this question. You can use a lot of methods. So the easiest one, since we are building up from our lesson 1. In our lesson 1, I said, whenever you are dividing, you need to get the conjugate of the denominator. So here it's x. Here we've got 1 minus I. What is the conjugate here? So you multiply. The conjugate is 1 plus I, like this. Even down here, 1 plus what? I. That's the conjugate. So you do this. So you are doing what? You are multiplying. Then the plus maintains. We've got y over 4 plus 3i. The conjugate, multiply by a conjugate. So what I've gotten is on my left hand side. I just want to expand this part so that I have the real part and the imaginary part. So the conjugate of this denominator is 4 minus 3i. This is what I'm supposed to do. Over 4 minus 3i, like this. So I'm multiplying. So you're doing what? Multiplying like this. So here, when you multiply here, what are you going to have? Just this part. What are you going to have when you just multiply this part? What are we going to have? So when we multiply this part, what we are going to have? We are going to have x, like this, x plus xi. Have you seen? over what? I told you that when you multiply here, you just same as you square the coefficients. The coefficient is 1. So 1 squared plus, there the coefficient -1 plus -1 squared. Here you are going to get a 2 when you add here. So just same as a 2 here. No need of trying to expand. No, you already know the answer. Plus maintain, plus still maintains. Then I work out this part. So 4 times y times 4, that's 4y minus, what am I going to get there? Y minus y times -3. So I'm going to get 3i then y. This is what I'm going to get. Then I say over what? So it's just the same as squaring this. So what is 4 squared plus 3 squared? What answer are you going to get? What answer are you getting here? See, 16 plus 9, which is equal to 25. So just same as 25 there. You put a 25. So we are still expanding. We are still expanding. We are expanding this, expanding so that we come out. So here, this is the same as x over 2 plus what? Xy over 2. Have you seen? I've just expanded this. Then I say plus what? 4y over 25 minus, there is a minus there, minus 3iy over what? 25. Hope you followed this. This is divided by that. This is divided by that. This divided by that. This divided by that. This is what I've just done. So when you reach here now, what you need to do, the moment you just reach here, you need to get the real part and the imaginary part. So you know that this one, where there is no I, these two. So this is the what? This is the real part. So you say x over 2 plus 4y over 25. You do this. This is the what? The real part. So let me write it here properly so that I don't confuse you. So I write it here properly. So what I've remained with, this is what I've remained with. So due to space, let me write it here properly so that you are able to see. So I've said that these two. So I say, I'm going to say x over 2, then plus 4y over what? Over 25. Over 25, I do this. This is the what? The real part. Plus, I say I. What is the imaginary part? The imaginary part, these two. This one and that one. So, this is x over 2 minus 3y over 25, like this. So, this is the real part. This is the imaginary part. This is what I've come up with. So this is what you need to get and understand. Hope you are able to see and follow through. So when you reach here now, you can now equate to this now. We had what? We had 2 minus 4i, like that. So you get the what? You are going to get this. We are going to get this part. This part is called what? What do we call this part? This is the real part. So you get the real part, you equate it to this real part. So you say x over 2 plus 4y over 25 is equal to what? Is equal to 2, like this. So fractions are difficult to deal with. You do this, multiply both sides by what? 50. Throughout the whole equation by 50. So 2 there 1. 2 there 25. So that's same as 25x. You say plus 25 there 1 into 50 2. 2 times 4 8. 80y over 2 times 50, that's 100. So we have this equation. We know that we cannot find the value of x or y with this. So we are going to call this as our equation 1. So call this as equation what? Equation 1. We are going to call it as equation 1. Then we move to the imaginary part. What is the imaginary part? What is the imaginary part? The imaginary part is this one, where you say x over 2 minus 3y over 25, which is equal to what? Negative 4, like this. So these are fractions. We also multiply throughout by what? Throughout by 50. So there, 50, 2 there, 1, 2 50, 25. So I'm going to get what? 25x. Then there, 1, there 2. 2 times 3, that's 6y. This is what I'm going to have, 6y. And then I say this is now equal to 4 times, negative 4 times 50. That is negative 200. So this one, I'm calling it as my equation 2. This one, I'm calling it as my equation 2. Hope you've seen what I've come up with. I've come up with equation 1 and equation 2. And you can now conclude and say that this is now a simultaneous equation. So we need now to solve a simultaneous equation. We want to solve a simultaneous equation now. So this is now a simultaneous equation. So you need to solve this. So you solve equation 1 and the equation 2. You get this one, you also get this one. You solve them. You can use substitution method, elimination method, any method that you are comfortable with. So how can we solve this? I believe each and every person knows how to solve a simultaneous equation. You know how to solve a simultaneous equation. So there are certain steps I want to be doing because of time. So we know how to solve simultaneous equations. I can't be teaching you how to solve simultaneous equations. So we've got 25x plus 8y, which is equal to 100. We also have 25x minus 6y, which is equal to negative 200, like this. How can you solve this simultaneous equation? I believe we know how to solve a simultaneous equation. These are the same. So the easiest way is to subtract, like this. We subtract. So this one will get a 0. But if we subtract here, what are we going to have? So when we subtract here, what are we going to have? So just the same as we are adding here. Have you seen? We are going to have something like 8 minus negative 6y, like this, which is equal to, have you seen? So that is also, there is a y there. So 8y, you're going to get 8y minus negative this, which is, when we subtract there, we get 100 minus negative 200. This is what we are going to have. So here we are adding. So just same as adding, we are saying 8 plus 6. What answer are you getting? We are getting a 14. So this is positive 14y is equal to, here this is plus, so you are adding 300. You divide both sides by 14, divide both sides by 14. So this cancel this into that. You just leave it like that. You just leave it like that. No need of struggling. So you now conclude and say y now is equal to 300 over 14. This is your answer. So this is the answer that we found. Have you seen? This is the value of y. Then how can we find the value of x? How can we find the value of x? So we found the value of y. This is the value that we found. Then how can you find the value of x? You get one of the two equations which you are given. So you get one of the two equations which are given. So if you get 25x plus, you already have y. What is your y? Y we found to be 300 over 14, like this, which is equal to 100. So this is what we are supposed to do. So from here now you say 25x, you know that this part will go this other side. So you are going to have 100 minus what? What are you going to have? 100 minus, so when you multiply this, so you say 300. So when you get a 300, you multiply it by 8. The answer that you are going to get, the answer will be 2400 over what? Over 14. This is what you are going to have. This is what you are going to have. So with this now, you say this is 25x is now equal to, so you try to subtract there. What answer are you going to get when you subtract? So in an exam, on these questions, you don't even need to use a calculator. You just need to work them out. So what answer can you get when you solve there? What answer can you get when you solve? What answer can you get there? So here when you say this is 100, so the answer that you are going to get when you evaluate this part, you are going to get negative 500 over 14. Over 14. So this is the answer you're going to get. You divide both sides by 25. Even here you divide by 25. Have you seen? So this will be cancelled. So the value of x, what will be the value of x now? If we evaluate, what will be the value of x? So x will now be equal to what? So you evaluate this part. Have you seen? You evaluate this part. So when you evaluate this part nicely, you need to get negative 20 over 7. So this is your answer. So you are done. This is what we are supposed to do. So we found the two values, the value for x and the value for y. So this is where we are going to end from, and this is our lesson 2. Those of you under my lessons, those of you that I'm teaching, an exercise is coming with exam questions. I see if you are able to follow through. And for a person that wants to join me, you can WhatsApp me on this number. This is my number. You can WhatsApp me, then I'll be able to help you. If you want to join us, where after the lesson I give you some questions, we see how we can handle those questions and how we can solve them. So this is where we are going to end from. This is our lesson 2. I'll be back with lesson 3. Thank you so much.